think Excel really have a drafting problem. I don't mind their draft. Their problem is in execution, specifically in their solo laners. Kryze and Special are really gifted mechanically. I think we've seen Special, especially on his Syndra performance, really do some cool things. The issue is that they lack the experience that other LEC players have and how to play the macro game, especially around wave stakes, which against Origen is devastating. This is a really bad stylistic matchup because Origen with Nukeduck, Alphari, and just their whole playstyle is all about wave states. If Excel want to find success, they should continue to find these comfort picks for their 2 new members joining the roster and just, here comes the airplane, like spoon feed them and try to carry off of those 1v1 mechanical performances. If they try to outplay the map against Origen, I think they're going to get spanked.
And you can already see the Syndra taken away from the side of Excel. Of course, just generally a powerful ban. Could be considered a sign of respect towards Special and his general comfort pool. But the GP ban is 100% for that man in the top lane on the side of Origen. You might as well call him Baba Yaga because he is most certainly the boogeyman here for Excel.
And it also makes a lot of sense that you want to protect Kryze from Alphari's GP, but also because Kryze has shown us the Kayle and the Vladimir. Vladimir being one of his signature champions, something that scales up. You don't want to take a scaling pick and then give Alphari a free lane for that GP to just punch down on you.
Absolutely cannot afford to do so. Similarly, the Yuumi will be banned away, so a lot of support focus here from the side of Excel as well. Maybe trying to set Patrik and Torre up for success. Tavares will be the final ban. Pick of the litter here for remaining priority AD carries. Both the Aphelios and the Kalista are up.
I do want to point out, though, a lot of teams are banning Varus from red side. It's pretty much global standard. But as a team like Mad Lions is chomping on the heels of Origen, Mad Lions do not ban Varus. They let it through because they have these tricks up their sleeve that they feel confident to beat it. Origen, they have to stay ahead of the team. So this is something to keep our eyes on as teams continue to ban Varus from red side and who truly is in the top 3 of the LEC.
Yeah, who can find that adaptability in these high pressure scenarios for now? Doesn't seem like it's cost them too much. The cheeky Volibear hoverovers are something that we will not believe until we see it locked in. But for now, pairing up the Kalista and now as well the Azir, a lethal carry combo for the side of Excel. And I like that they've given some early game agency over to the side of Patrik here, especially now that it's paired with the Taric, because I feel like Patrik and Torre should be looked at as the reliable core of this Excel lineup.
Really early Taric to come out here. I think they're maybe suspecting that a Nautilus was on the horizon for Destiny here.
I wonder why.
Well, obviously, it's one of Destiny's most played champions. It works really well with an Aphelios, and it does really well into Kalista because it's one of the reliable ways to try to lock her down. And Taric obviously plays well into Nautilus because of their play patterns. Nautilus has to pull you forward into him, and it lines up a stun. So I'm actually going to assume that there's some pivoting there, that this Taric so early on is trying to dissuade a Nautilus pick.
And some clever drafting, I think, because as you can see, Origen, they're not going to take the Nautilus. They do not like that matchup. Instead, they will shift priority to the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, of course, very nice for the Aphelios to have. Makes a lot of the more obnoxious top lane picks easier to deal with as you have that get-out-of-jail-free card in the team fights.
It also means that your map play can be that much cleaner when you're working with the Abyssal Voyage. And again, that's something to keep your eyes on with Excel. As soon as the map starts open up, they have one of the longest extended laning phases of any of our teams in the LEC. They really love to sit there, but as soon as you kind of take away the lines and they have to be pretty free-throw about where they're going, that's when you start to see some of these cracks appear with the lack of experience in their team for how long they've been together. They get lost, it takes them too long to set up, and an Abyssal Voyage can just ruin their day by stacking on top of them quickly.
Additional map mobility is never something that you're excited to give over to OG. We'll have to see what the summoner spell selection is for Nukeduck in the mid lane if we get another TP in the hands of the Orianna. Assume we'll have one for Alphari as Excel really debate what they want to take away. Origen going to ban away the bear themselves. Torre has certainly hovered it enough times that it probably feels like it has to be respected, but we did see earlier in the day how obnoxiously powerful it can be. I imagine one more blind pick top lane ban might come out, potentially the Renekton, maybe the Ornn, but instead it's going to be the Wukong. They don't mind if Alphari picks a tank. They're worried about the carries.
So are we going to see the Set, who has so far slipped through the ban phase at this point? It would be, I think, a good pick against an Aphelios, but since you have the Tahm Kench there, I think there's a little bit less priority onto the Set because you can't just grab him for free. There's extra layer of protection there.
Instead it will be the Trundle. Now Trundle, of course, still considered a very high tier jungler despite the movement speed nerfs that we saw on this patch, and Excel potentially looking for a flex of their own, but as it is their last rotation, there's not going to be a lot of information to hide unless they get really crazy.
I think a Kench would be really cool.
Excellent potential. If they get ahead, Taric Kindred, was it LJL who drafted the Immortality comp back in Wildcard a year or so ago?
Okay, Lee Sin.
I don't mind it. I think when you look at it, I like that we have a Kalista, and I like in the bottom lane, and a Lee Sin in the hands of Caedrel. If anyone's going to help this team get through the early game and make sure that they can build up any kind of lead, it is going to be Patrik and Caedrel. So
it's a Gragas top. We just saw it over in the LCK.
That's going to be interesting. Now for Kryze, this is a little bit out of the wheelhouse of things that he's picked so far. It is not the scaling option in the Vladimir or in the Kale. And instead, the Origen going to be the final pick here for Origen. So taking their feet off the gas of dominating top lane match. We'll have to see how this one plays out.
Where's it going to go?
It's going top.
Oh, it's Kryze on... Oh, no, I really wanted the Kalista.
They were going to play Gragas Taric bot lane?
I don't think that... Okay, so what is cool is that at level 6, with the Lee Sin and the Gragas ultimate, you can do some really fun things. I think Alphari having an Ornn, though, can pretty much put a stop to all of that. He can just sit up there, he can itemize really well against the Gragas, survive the lane phase, and then play for the team fights. And it feels like both these compositions really are playing for more of the composition, or these picks are there for the composition rather than just lane phase.
And I'm ready to see if the execution can come through for Excel. We talked about it. Hey, some of the ideas are there. The players' individual mechanical skills are there. It's just that the execution has been sloppy. This might just be an execution-heavy team comp, but they've got a lot of tools to disengage. They've got a lot of tools to engage, and quite frankly, I'm just ready to see what they can do against it, because Origen are often the immovable object in the face of many LEC teams. Let's see if Excel can be the unstoppable force here in our 4th game of the day.
Expectations heading into this game, of course. It feels like all LEC fans are just waiting for Origen to take a trip, to just fumble once and then grab them and rip them to the ground. But they remain steady on that podium. They're there. They're like, it's bronze, but it counts. We're off the ground. Whereas Excel are in their 2nd rebuild. And you don't want to be doing a rebuild in summer. Obviously, losing Expected Mickey, now picking up Kryze and Special.
Very much so. I just love that you said it's bronze, obviously referring to the bronze medal, and the first thing I thought was the ELO, but of course that'd be a bit too harsh, although Alphari getting caught out is definitely not the start that OG were happy about. And what do you know? Coach Youngbuck with another specialty Excel level 1.
You stole my point, Dracos. Yeah, the former coach of Fnatic. And who knows what came first, the chicken or the egg, but either way, Youngbuck taking the legacy from Fnatic of having those special level 1s. Excel have shown it in all 4 of their games so far on the LEC, and this time around it buys in the first blood.
And that's going to be difficult, because snowballing a Lee Sin early on is certainly something that nobody wants to deal with.
Makes the champion relevant for 5 more minutes.
A bit harsh, but I think fair condemnation, especially when
Listen, there are only a couple of people who are allowed to play Lee Sin, Shadow being one of them. When that boy plays Lee Sin...
And Yankos, to be fair, lost his Lee Sin permission after last week, so...
He lost his license.
All I'm saying is there's a new spot open if Caedrel really wants to show up this week. For now, though, does not go back to buy any early itemization with that first blood. Could have looked to either get the second half of the jungle item or a longsword, but instead just going to focus on this clear. Maybe we see an early back to capitalize, but a fast warrior is always going to be important. In the meantime, Frostgurn, top lane matchup is something that I think we have to look at. Already 6-1 in the CS score as Ornn starts to push out. And if you're wondering why we look at top lane, well, it's quite simple. It's because Alphari is the baddest of the bad in top lane matchups. You can see some absolutely disgusting numbers here in the top lane from his previous week performance.
The crazy thing to look out for Alphari, and it kind of sucks. No, I'm going to be frank. It really sucks to see him on Ornn because he's so incredible when he gets to play carries, is his opponent's CS difference. It's not just the fact that Alphari CSs well himself, it's that when you match up across from him, he denies you so much. He sees that CSs perfectly, and he challenges you on the wave.
And you can see it here, where Alphari is going to look for every opportunity to trade. And on the opposite side, and this is why we were nervous for Kryze a little bit, especially with the scaling picks, and especially now that he's getting absolutely whacked in the face here. Alphari's going to back off on this one, because Kryze did not have the debut that he was looking for in week 1. That is a 0.5 KDA. Of course, Excel got 3 losses, so it's not always going to be a good thing. But the 5 isolated deaths is my big concern. That is an unfortunately high number, and this man needs to get that lane phase a little bit more together if he wants to be able to come into this mid-game and have an impact on the map.
And one of the interviews that Kryze just did is that kind of coming onto this roster, he's supposed to be another carry for this team. You know, well known for his Vladimir, that's kind of his responsibility, and he has been playing more of those scaling carry-oriented champions, but he hasn't really survived getting out of lane phase at the LEC level. And a lot of that does come down to his wave management. I think it was against Rogue in particular, where Finn got the freeze on him and just fell down 3 levels. I think he was down 40 CS at some point. It was really brutal to watch. So Kryze has his work cut out in front of him, facing across from a great like Alphari.
And because Alphari's just been dominating these trades, we're now going to get an early TP out from Kryze, potentially, although wave is going to reset, so maybe Alphari just gets this one for free if Kryze wants to try to push the wave back in.
What I think is actually really interesting is if you look down on the map right now, you can see that Nukeduck and Xerxe are on the topside river and they're backing, but they moved into Fog of War when Orianna got priority push against the Azir, and they theoretically could have threatened a potential dive. I think if Alphari had actually stepped forward a little bit, it would have forced Kryze off the wave, or at least respect a potential dive upcoming, because the mid laner went missing. But because Alphari actually took his back, I think, in vision, I'd have to double check, of Kryze, he felt safe standing on the tower.
Good that Kryze is able to get something back already at almost a 10 CS deficit as the waves reset exactly even. So that is a true 10 CS deficit, not waiting, of course, for a single wave to catch in or be caught. It's only going to continue to grow here if he's not on top of it in terms of CSing. For now, shifting our eyes over to the OG bottom lane. Not much to comment on the Aphelios Tahm Kench lane. It feels like it's just a matter of surviving what the Taric and Kalista are going to try to do here in the early to mid game.
Good clearing out of vision for the river, as it feels like both these, or excuse me, that Origen really want to contest for priority in the wave state of mid and bot lane, and then move over into this Drake. Now that Trundle is level 5, he can take it solo quite easily, which is why the control ward is there, and he's also placing deep control wards in Excel's jungle.
And I also have to say that while it feels like OG have control of this bottom side for right now, I do like the itemization coming in from Caedrel. He is at a bit of a deficit here in terms of XP, although he shifts over to level 5 now, but that Tiamat early on is going to allow him to further snowball this advantage. Bad news is there's a Trundle waiting for him in that bush, so he's going to be forced to dash out to safety, and all that vision laid down by OG starts to pay off as they're able to just start to walk in here on the bottom side.
We're going to see how much Xerxe is going to respect Caedrel's Lee Sin. Both junglers level 5. Of course, Lee Sin has a couple more tools than other junglers when it comes to trying to steal objectives due to the burst damage he can have with his smite and his Q reset. But we talked about Trundle's ability to solo Dragon. He's also pulling Destiny and Upset. He's going to force it.
Trying to get this one down. Will they spot it out? Xerxe now going to be in trouble, though. There's a lot of damage there taken. Challenging smite looks like coming out. Caedrel now in trouble. Nukeduck's just going to finish that one off. Special going to slide and glide his way out to safety, but OG just going to be happy to reap the rewards of their hard work here on the bottom side.
And the thing is that if you're an Excel fan, Origen actually lost control over the priority in mid lane in doing that. But it somehow still felt that Origen got the numbers there first. I want to see the replay, and maybe it was Special was slow to rotate. Sorry,
Special.
I don't want to do him like that. It's not his time yet.
Not yet. Quick pillar coming out here as well. Don't know the logic on that one. Maybe they're hoping for some follow-up, but Upset obviously with not the best gun combo to follow under a tower.
He's down to Clown right now, though, with the red and white. Not under tower, but if they step forward.
You get in that melee range. Although always, I think, hard to fight a Taric if he has any significant amount of mana up, as he just offers so much sustain in those sustained melee engagements.
I want to see what happens with the wave here.
Oh, they see him.
Because Special, yeah, he forces it forward. But he's not.
They know he's in the bush.
Okay, now he's starting to rotate.
He walks over the ward.
Yeah, Origen actually starting that Dragon first. I think they were a little bit delayed to pull off of it, but good thing that Upset and Destiny already rotated.
Ooh. And yeah, OG going to take that one. Always nice to have the Infernal. We'll see what the Rift is going to be. I always feel like it's the bigger question because the single Drakes never feel too consequential.
Special is not to blame. He is not an Special this game. It was Torre and Patrik that didn't have priority, and Upset was the difference there. Everything's fine.
Go. Now as we move into the game, the gold feels relatively even, but OG obviously starting to keep the focus on these bigger objectives. I wonder if we start to see a lane swap come out anytime soon, though. Probably not, actually, because when you look at the top lane, Gragas is certainly struggling. Definitely not the easiest matchup in terms of players, and always hard to gauge how indicative this is of the matchup, although we'll hold that thought. Nukeduck is now pushing forward. Torre potentially caught out a solid sidestep on the tongue, but he will have to flash out to safety here. Patrik debating on the re-engage, but will opt to back off.
Yeah, when you have tanky members like Kench and Trundle right there, I don't think it's really worth it to try to force something, especially when you're missing your flash and your support, and you're thinking about using him as the wrecking ball to come swinging in.
Look, if they want to go for the Miley Cyrus play.
I knew you were going to do it.
Yeah. It's a good song. And sadly for Caedrel, as much as I loved that first blood to start, OG's vision has been impeccable this game. They have spotted him everywhere he's tried to go, and he has not really been able to relieve any pressure whatsoever from his respective laners.
So as I was watching a lot of Xerxe's VODs, one of the things that they did struggle with, specifically around, again, their newer members, but also as a team, Torre was also guilty of this, is they don't really respect giving away information, showing on waves, clearing wards, and moving to objectives, and it makes them quite slow to set up, because they'll walk through wards, kill wards, and then continue walking on their way. And it allows teams to set up and contest them a lot. Now, when you put any sort of pressure on Xerxe, if they're against a faster-paced team, they tend to fall apart a lot more because they get desperate, they get disorganized. So while I still think that it's a stylistic advantage for Origen in this matchup, that Origen really understand wave control, they have much cleaner macro than Xerxe, and they should be able to outplay the map, Origen aren't really a team that apply a ton of pressure for you to make very fast decisions. It's why they continue to fall down to teams like Fnatic and G2. Those are the types of teams that do that. The Mad Lions, the Misfits.
And you can see that OG, despite spotting out that the Herald was being taken, knew that they didn't have the resource on that side of the map, did not want to force anything, and they do give a small advantage back now to the side of Xerxe. Of course, the gold lead for OG is steadily growing, a lot because of the CS discrepancies that we're starting to see maintained here on the top side, although good on Kryze to get some of this back.
But I would expect this to kind of be how the game goes, that Origen would take advantages through their 1v1 lanes of finding CS leads, but otherwise things to be quite quiet until the mid-game happens, because that's when Xerxe really need to show that that's where their development is focused, on making those smarter mid-game decisions, and that's where Origen really do come alive. On an open map, they really thrive.
See if the OG macro lives up to expectations, and if Xerxe can find the footing for that execution. I think the potential for a team comp that has both a Gragas and a Lee Sin alongside an Azir, I mean, hell, also the Kalista is exciting to think about. If it's executed to perfection, the amount of engages and crazy plays you can get away with is astronomical. But pressure is on for Xerxe to find those options. Interestingly, we're seeing Gragas on the top side of the map go for a more AP-focused route. Not going to go for anything tanky, even remotely. And that damage is going to be something to be respected in these late-game fights, especially against an Aphelios who is, as we always mention, very immobile.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really going to be looking out for, Dracos. You nailed it. It's, if this is a more AP-oriented Gragas, it's having that, you know, three-pointer right on top of Aphelios to A, knock him out of position and into your team's waiting arms, but also if you can start just chunking him out, as here comes a play.
Now we're going to have the Taric ult coming down immediately. I like how aggressive Torre is on that cooldown, but it's going to put them in a bit of trouble now as the fight can turn once it fades away. Buys them enough time. Destiny taking a bit too much damage there in the exchange, and it will force OG to back off.
I think that we were a bit overzealous with how much damage was going to be done.
That is Taric and Tahm Kench fighting each other, two deceptively tanky champions.
Everyone just walks it off.
Just taking turns hitting each other, the more vulnerable members of the team. But Upset has to be careful here. No room to sidestep that one, but Destiny's got to get out of jail free card. The flash of safety to heal as well, but now Xerxe is now running in. Ooh, the follow-up there. The flashback does not take them away to safety, and Upset taking his time on this one. The slow debuff is still there. Could look to reactivate, but is not going to do so. And, okay, maybe not the cleanest set of plays that we expected from OG, a team who's normally, you know, very execute the simple, clean plays that we come to expect. But I like this one. Now trying to punish. The question is the Devour cooldown up and available? They're still going to find the stun. Torre has to be careful, though, because Xerxe is coming right back. If at first you don't succeed, try again, Frostguard, and it looks like OG are just going to continue to try, but now they have to back off because its TP's being burned left and right. It's a party in the bottom lane. Special going to scoop Destiny up, but now Nukeduck getting kicked back. Orianna with no mana TPing in, definitely just trying to dissuade any further engagements because this TP is not about winning a fight.
And in the end, somehow no one dies. Everyone disengages. I shouldn't be surprised.
Wow. Who do we get? Who did good?
I mean, there was a lot of things. I think Caedrel's ultimate was quite important as soon as the TP came in and just like kicking him away from his team. They just, I'm gonna say the word cautious. I feel like Xerxe and Origen are both teams that when something starts to go just a little bit sideways, both these teams will immediately pull out and try to cut their losses. And it feels like that's kind of what happened there on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, In the initial, I'm sure when we look at the replay, in the initial trade, when Upset opens up on massive damage, I actually think they could have chased and killed Xerxe there, but because Special had disappeared into Fog of War and was threatening to walk down while Nukeduck was picking up the wave, they actually held off. And that's like the classic Origen play. Oh, there's a potential that the mid laner is coming, let's not chase.
Xerxe now trying to sneak this one away before Caedrel can get in the area. One more, the smite, can he secure from Lee Sin? He is just gonna swag that one out, taking the extra movement speed as well from the Nimbus Cloak. So very risky play from Xerxe, but does manage to sneak that one away. And because Xerxe commit resources to stop the dragon from being taken, they get almost nothing off the Herald.
We're getting desperate.
And this is what you talked about, Frostgurn. You said that when the pace starts to pick up or when there are multiple options for Xerxe to pick from, they really don't perform at the best level.
They just get a little bit frazzled there, but we'll start this one off with the initial engagement. Trading for Taric ultimate, I think that's fine, everyone goes down, but look at where Special is right now. He's walking down the river, and Upset's gonna open up when they jump back onto him, and I think that he could have continued to chase after the re-engage here, but because he loses where this Azir is, they don't want to chase to the potential that the Azir could show up.
And I like the respect flash coming out from Destiny.
There he goes.
Does not want to get kicked, but Frostgurn, this was such a moment of clear indecisiveness from both teams. I guess they take turn making decisions. We want the fight, no we don't. Well, we want the fight, no we don't. And while maybe you get hyped up for this final moment in the end, I cannot believe that Torre does not die here.
I cannot believe we're still in this replay.
But the TP, yeah, saves the day there, stops them from getting any more aggressive. And
he immediately kicks away the Orianna. I think he thought Nukeduck was going to instantaneously shockwave.
I can't decide if that's one of those plays where I should be like, wow, a lot of people played very well to stop anyone from dying, or
I think
wow,
a lot of people
played very poorly to stop anyone from dying.
I'm going to say people played very cautiously.
There you go.
Everyone was very afraid.
That's a positive term, cautiously. Of course, while we see how much more caution there will be in this game, apparently none from Xerxe. Don't forget to tune in for our next game, Fnatic versus Mad Lions, aka Draft Kingdom, the game. And Frosco, 15 minutes in, gold dead on even. OG's only real sizable advantage is the double drakes that they have, and looks like they're gonna try to kick this fight off. Patrick's gonna be in trouble here. Torre, of course, can get pulled back here. They're gonna get the early Kalista ult out. Pillar as well to stop them from going any further. Kryze off to the side. Gragas ult at level 11 will be very effective against anyone but Alphari. Alphari only itemizing MR at this point is actually gonna be very vulnerable for the follow-up team fight. Torre now flashing in, they've got the ulti as well. That's going to be big, but Nukeduck now with a clean use of the shockwave. Unstoppable Alphari, but definitely not unkillable. And now Xerxe are on the hunt, trying to push their advantage forward. Kryze going to miss on the body slam. That's a bit tragic because Upset is still untouched, and he's got Infernum as well. The AoE's going to be there. Big damage as Torre's now going to get knocked down. Destiny on the hunt as well, looking to give him a lick, but now has to back off. May have overcommitted, may have overstayed his welcome. Nukeduck now moving in, trying to get the command dissonance to slow him down, but Destiny will get traded back, and Upset now has to be careful. He's only level 8 to the level 11 of Special, but just such a messy fight.
But in the end, it's Xerxe who come out on top. Not only do they pick up the kills, but now you can see that Patrik has turned his eyes towards that Rift Herald, has obviously the Rin to help him out there to secure it, and Special, kind of a night and day performance here, has done a wonderful job moving with his team. Before he was kind of, slow to the uptake, playing a bit too much solo queue, a bit too much, this is for me, I'm in my lane phase. It's now like beck and call for his team every single time, constantly there and making a big difference in these fights.
And we got to take a look back at exactly what happens here in the play. I want to keep a special eye on Torre and this very good use of the flash stun from the Taric.
Yep, so there we go in. There's the flash stun that you were talking about. Manages to catch the Tahm Kench, and then the ultimate coming down for Taric there as he's able to... I mean, he's not really doing anything, he's just kind of walking at them, but we'll pretend that he's doing a lot. I think a big issue is the fact that Nukeduck got separated between Kryze and Special. So Nukeduck, on a very powerful and very special Orianna pick, is zoned out of this fight for a really long time.
And I have to watch it again. I forgot to double check as we came into the replay, but I couldn't see how much of Nukeduck's actual damage output was blocked by the Taric ultimate. It wasn't clear to me if it came down right after the command shockwave or right before. I know at least one member of Xerxe was left untouched by the Taric ultimate there, but definitely have to keep our eyes on that cooldown in the fights, and also the damage output from both the Kalista and the Azir as we get later in the game. Big numbers posted by Patrik in that one.
And Orianna as a pick is excellent at zone control, but when she gets separated from a fight, she doesn't have the same mobility as an Azir does to kind of reposition himself on the right side of the fight to deal out the damage. As soon as Nukeduck was separated, you know, his AD carry loses so much pressure in those fights because the ball placement really helps open up for Aphelios to step forward and say, if you come near me, my Battle Ball Orianna will destroy you.
And additionally, just the presence, you're not getting through that Gragas. You know, he's at the point where he's going to have 40% CDR pretty soon. Looks like 30 already on the cards, and he's going to be very difficult to deal with in these fights because not only is he going to do damage, but the body slam flash makes it very difficult to interact for an immobile champion like Orianna. Xerxe, though, starting to push forward a little bit here. Torre always getting chunked out, but they have yet to be able to really finish a kill outside of the first one. And now the second Herald being summoned to the mid lane, of course, will not be used for plates, but breaking open mid lane tower is huge. Normally an advantage that we expect to see OG get here earlier on in the game, but Excel first to break a mid lane tower in this game.
It means a little bit less just because of their composition, but I'll hold it as we're continuing to set up for this Drake. Origen, will they fall for the trap?
Fall for the bait. Caedrel dashing out to safety. If they burn too many cooldowns here, though, they will get collapsed on. That's the fog from the Aphelios assault. So much power in that kit. Now he's slowed against the flash to safety. Xerxe now looking for the chase down. Caedrel locked up and taken out. The rest of the team looking to collapse, but no. The moment of hesitation, they don't want to take this one anymore. Alphari's onto the side, and it looks like they're just going to have to give up the third Drake of the game. Just
a huge mistake from Caedrel there. It actually cost his team so much because, again, Special is doing a much better job this game, you know, coming to the beck and call of Excel. And so he didn't push the mid lane tower. He was walking back to his team. He's not going to get it. You were waiting for the Kalista spear. But Caedrel getting caught out there, massive error. Like, Origen aren't winning in the clean way that they should, you know, all this way that we were talking them back up, that their map play is so good. Right now, they're actually just winning because they're just punishing Excel's mistakes.
And definitely, and it's not a massive lead by any means. Once again, we're looking at the Soul at this point. Ocean Soul, incredibly powerful for really any composition. And see if that can be something that they get their hands on, because the later and later we get, the scarier and scarier the Aphelios is going to be, and we've yet to really see that clean execution from Excel. A lot of scrappy fights, but no clearly decisive ones outside of that collapse onto Caedrel.
Well, we've also seen a lot of mess coming from Origen right now. I think that they need to get their house in order before they start coming for Excel.
Yeah, because additionally, this is a very punishing composition if you do make mistakes. Once again, all of the different creative ways for Excel to find engagements if Origen are sloppy on their vision, their individual positioning, really anything is incredibly high. Just further raises the stakes, though, for Excel on execution. One of the main points we wanted to talk about for this team is they have weathered the storm of the lane phase despite massive deficits early on. Kryze is not doing too bad here as we get into the mid game. Still obviously behind Alphari, but not by as big of a margin as you may have expected when you first saw that lane phase.
But this is where we do expect Origen to really take control of the game, to take over, to show that on an open map that they will consistently make the right choice so far, find the right lane assignment. So you saw Xerxe there, forcing a ton of pressure over the map, stealing away the blue buff, and opening up all this time for Nukeduck, while I think bot lane pressure was then traded for Excel on very delayed resets, finally getting out onto the map and just losing a lot of control.
Definitely the case, and I'm a little concerned for OG, because as much as I love, you know, having the Orianna going for these control mage picks in the mid lane, we now see the Banshee's Veil on the way. This is not the traditional Orianna composition where you have reliable ball delivery service into the back line, and that's going to make it a lot harder for them to, if OG find an advantage, really execute their own kind of wombo combo style teamfight. It feels like it puts them much more at the beck and call of what Excel are trying to do, which is very clearly engage aggressively with all the tools they have at their disposal.
That's because I don't think that Nukeduck's responsibility is to hit the massive shockwave. Like, obviously, if he does, that's always going to feel good. I still feel that his primary responsibility, especially with a Trundle and a Tahm Kench, is zone control for Aphelios. This is an upset composition.
Having that additional shielding is going to matter a lot in the games, but won't matter as much if Nukeduck gets caught out. Excellent sidesteps to Flash, though, to secure this one. Nukeduck now going to get that Xerxe Embrace shield, but will get pulled back. Flash up safety to the pull. Not quite enough. The ball going to keep him safe, and oh no, they get a few seconds to watch their lives before they just disappear. The Taric ult is not enough, and XL have overstepped.
And you could see what they wanted to do. Patrik and Torre, they thought that they had caught Nukeduck, but quickly look at the map. The fact is that Origen also committed so much to deny that, to turn it around on its head. And Special and Kryze didn't get anything in return. They kind of shoved in the waves, and yeah, they denied that CS, but they were moving up towards the top lane. They didn't stay into their lanes to start smacking those towers. Think of how much damage has been missed on this tier 2 mid that potentially could have gone down if instead of moving towards their teammates, they were focusing on the lane. So looks a little bit disjointed here.
Maybe, though. They do have time to capitalize on some of these cooldown differences. It will be harder and harder as we get later in the game. Upset now, of course, finishing his second item. You've seen what an Aphelios can do once she has IE, Runehands, and a Death Stance. And no doubt XL are painfully aware. So maybe with these cooldown from Alphari being unavailable, XL can try to force something.
It's really hard. Xerxe denied the blue buff, and so XL have been struggling to fight for mid priority. Azir having to back for mana right now.
Yeesh. Yeesh. I mean, it's just difficult, right? I think that what makes me sad about that play is you're right that there's this huge opportunity for XL to get something back. Maybe not a major advantage. Maybe something small. Maybe it's just vision. Maybe it's something a bit more. But they really got nothing out of it.
It's kind of like the bigger issue that as I've been watching XL, again, I like the idea. Like, I like the play style behind them. It's just the execution and the synergy, which obviously in a rebuild, when you're bringing two new voices, is going to be a byproduct. And it's just unfortunate that it's happening in summer. You know, this is not where the UK underdogs wanted to be. They want to be the UK premier team.
Yeah. They want to be the ones going to Worlds, fighting for a spot at the Worlds, not left and condemned to the bottom of the standings. But they still have time, of course, to turn this game around, but time is going to start running short as we are 23 seconds away from a potential OG Ocean Soul. Torre starting it off by getting absolutely chunked out is a big deal. You can see Upset, I think, clearly trying to force out an early Taric ultimate. Little does he know, it's not available yet.
Going for this fourth Drake as Origen are forcing for mid control.
Ooh, immediate flash to be burned out from Patrik there.
Look at Kryze.
Maybe. Gragas ult is huge. If Destiny misplays, if he devours the wrong player, this could just instantly end the team fight. Banshee's Veil from Nukeduck is a big deal, but the Aphelios is left mostly unprotected in the fight to come.
Okay, so we're gonna have the big fight. Can Caedrel get the steal and keep his team in this one?
But they know he's in the brush. They spotted him before he came over the wall. Kryze thought he was getting cheeky there, but that's gonna be the invulnerability now coming down. They're on the hunt. Destiny, if they can take him down, it makes the set by all that much easier. But Special has been knocked out. The Dragon getting lower and lower, and that's the pullback. Patrik is now dead, and OG are now set to win the fight. Kryze and Caedrel just trying to get something done, but they need to make their way out of the pit. They've given up Ocean Soul, but Nukeduck is now on the hunt. He's speeding up. He's taking down one. Upset on a rampage. Special now in trouble. Another one as well. And OG are just styling on XL. Get an Ocean Soul to boot after an incredibly dominant fight.
And they can walk all the way to Baron. Like, they don't need that mid lane tower. They know it. They're just going to stroll their way over, and suddenly this game has busted wide open. Origen, through the objective control specifically around the Dragon, have now cracked it wide open.
This should be it. Ocean Soul plus Baron. This is going to start to grow that gold lead by a massive, massive amount as towers are going to start to fall left and right. But you see here, Kryze thought he was sneaky, thought he found the off angle to approach the Dragon Pit, but spotted out by the ward. And sadly, as good as Patrik starts off here, he just sets himself up for the follow-up shockwave and nothing left to do.
Spotted out by the ward. And then we talked about how this Orianna was supposed to be the zone control for Aphelios. Nukeduck just pops off on the back of this fight. He's like, this is no longer about the Aphelios. This is actually just about me.
It's like, I hope you enjoyed your extra mobility. I noticed that you used it, and now you will die. And for OG, definitely a lot cleaner in a lot of aspects of his performance. I think still overall, definitely not the textbook game we may have been hoping for, but there in the clutch moments, they still pull it together.
To be the Origen apologist.
Ooh, okay. Wait, what? Well, okay, hold on. Hold your.
You're looking at Origen's number?
That's not allowed. I'm going to rewatch that one later as the fight now breaks out, but OG aren't going to find a pick. Okay, it's time for OG apologies. Go, Frost.
I mean, if I'm the Origen fan, I'm saying, but look at all of my tricks. Look at my Baron. I did exactly what you wanted. You may not like the style, but it paid off. I also do think that pressure is on for Origen. Like, the expectations are so different and so much higher for this team that it does feel that sometimes when you watch them in games, they're a little bit clenched. So that was a clincher. Yeah,
timing, I think, going for the perfect combo there, but you, of course, have to throw the cask as you're body slamming these days if you want to hit that one. So Nukeduck does have time to flash out to safety. And Frostground, the big problem is here is because it was such a stagnant game and because there were almost no towers taken before that Baron, OG now just get to walk around and take all of this free gold. And what was a dead even game before the Baron is now 4,000-5,000 in favor of OG.
And potentially getting even worse if this shockwave finds anyone out of position.
It'll be difficult. Of course, Nukeduck's playing a little bit more cautiously. He doesn't have the Banshee's Veil up. Kryze now trying to 1v1 Xerxe. Xerxe is just backed up by so many Baron minions and seems surprisingly unafraid of this Gragas.
I think one of the issues is the guns that Upset has. not having access to his green gun and the extra range chipping on the tower, they're reliant more so on the minions to slowly whittle this one down.
And there you go, immediate Taric coming out. Taric flashing forward, but no one is nearby. He's going to need Patrik's help to take him out to safety. They're pulling back, but they've knocked out far into the team, and that's definitely not the target that they want to focus on. Immediately, Taric drops. Clean kill pickup from Nukeduck, and OG now pushing into the base, looking to break this one even more open. They've already taken mid lane inhibitor. Now they want to grab the bot lane as well. Oh, and Alphari. That was an excellent team combo there between the Trundle pillar and Alphari's dash forward. Rather, did not take mid hit, but they'll get it now. So all things evening out as OG are set up to pretty cleanly close this one out.
I'm actually going to try to do it on this last push.
Patrik holding on. Caedrel maybe hoping to push for a kick.
That's the Origen we know. To be fair, I don't think that they should have gone for that either.
If they were the 3-0 OG that they wanted to be after week 1, maybe we see that.
Yeah.
But they're 1-2 Origen.
That would have made the difference with Xerxe all being spawned up and the minion wave depleting itself.
I just think they would have been a little bit more bold on that one.
So obviously the Ornn ultimate comes out here as not just for the engagement, but actually as like a zoning ult. I think the idea was you throw out the Ornn ultimate and then you step forward, take down the tower, and then you look for the team fight. Went a little bit sideways, but you know, smacking them with their wallet, the gold lead speaks for itself.
Yeah, 5K, Ocean Soul, no longer a Baron, but with 2 inhibitors down, you don't really need it anymore. It's just a matter of time, it feels like, till they break open the base, especially if they're able to sync these waves. For now, bot wave has been completely and totally pushed out by Special, so still have a bit of time here. Unless, of course, they get caught out. Patrik flashing out to safety, not the start to the fight that they were looking for. And you can see from the fact that Alphari and Destiny are fiercely approaching the base gate there that they are not concerned about what Xerxe has on the table. Pull back from the Kalista ultimate might not be enough. Big damage going to come in here from Upset as he finds the follow-up. He can also connect with the snare, but we have to keep our eyes on the fight in the backside because Kryze is in the middle of nowhere. Will not be one more isolated death, but it was damn close. A bit too eager to find that flank as he's forced to flash out.
The desperation is creeping in. Xerxe just don't have the tools to deal with this.
Power comes in to deny the snare, and OG just taking their sweet time on this one, not pushing too far forward as Alphari is definitely that immovable object.
Can we talk about Gragas just sunbathing in the mid lane right now?
He's cutting the wave. No, he's not. Oh, dude, this isn't a good look. Wait, observers, I really appreciate you. That's hilarious, but okay, no, he's cutting the wave. Now he's cutting the wave. Okay, good.
Well, he's cutting the wave because now it's there.
I thought he was just gonna back there, and I was like, uh-oh, that's not the clip we need to show people. All right, Kryze doing what he can. And OG, they're just playing the time game. They can take Elder in 30 seconds if they want to. Maybe Xerxe could find a steal, but once again, this is the miracle game for Xerxe at this point. They had a chance to play on even footing. OG came out on top, but now they're playing from such a deficit that it really is just steals and misplays from OG that keep them in this one.
And now at this point, Xerxe are playing against the composition. That is Caedrel looking for the miracle Lee Sin flank. He's got to find Upset. Maybe a Nukeduck is fine, but if Nukeduck is fast on the fingers, you kick the Orianna into your team and she presses R.
Yeah, and more difficultly, the Tahm Kench is still there and can't save either one of the carries, so you kind of need a situation where you threaten both and Destiny picks wrong.
I mean, the first blood did give him 5 more minutes of relevance, but that was like 10 minutes ago.
That was the question. Do we see full dominance from OG, or is it going to be a bit of a longer game here? But now Upset is just going to start shredding them down. And while they don't even have enough time to get the invulnerability down. Taric going to get taken out. Double kill for Upset, and that's most certainly going to be the game. They don't really have much of a minion wave until the super is now collapsed, but it's going to be more than enough here as OG show up in week 2. Xerxe could not find their moments, could not execute, but OG did not hesitate to press their advantage, and they're going to take their time ending this game as the Tahm Kench emote from Destiny comes out. We got a lot of BM here this week, folks. I don't know if there was a memo and I missed it, but yeah, this is going to be 300 minions ending a game. Congrats to OG.
So outside of like the random fights that happened into the bot lane where like no one died, I think as soon as we got to